What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Scream 5 breakdown, ending, explained and Easter egg video. So Scream is back in cinemas and the first Scream to not be directed by the legendary Wes Craven. I was initially hesitant at the idea, but I've loved every single Scream so far, and it was clear as day that this was yet another requel which is so in vogue at the moment. And Scream has been stupidly meta for the whole time, so I was very excited to see where this went. While Scream 4 did delve into a return to Woodsboro, I'd argue that Scream 5 did do the return to Woodsboro story miles better, and did a better homage to its contemporary movies at the moment, like Halloween and all these kind of re-sequels that we're getting. Now, the movie opens with Tara being tormented by Ghostface once again. It's a neat little retread of Scream 1, where Drew Barrymore's Casey Becker was murdered by Ghostface, aka Billy and Stu, complete with the debate over horror movies. While Scream 4 went a bit crazy with the bait and switch, we get a discussion of evolved horror. The 2010s saw scary movies evolve with Jordan Peele's output, as well as the iconic Hereditary. But we know the killers here, Amber and Richie, are behind all this, as we saw at the end of the movie. Richie is a franchise purist, furious at the ideas the filmmakers were insulting the fans with Scream 8. Of course, it is a riff on what is known as the fandom menace and what the movie is taking a swipe at, perceived toxic fans who feel slighted by change. It is no coincidence that Stab 8 is the one that jumped the shark, as Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, is the one that we can thank for the incredible toxicity around movies we have today. It's a pretty shrewd move, as Richie plays the dunce pretending to have never seen the movies, but was deep down enraged that Ghostface had like nunchucks and a flamethrower. Interestingly, we have confirmation that Kirby, Hayden Panettiere's character from Scream 4, survived, as one of the thumbnails was advertising an interview with her, and when he was watching the video, we also had real life YouTubers from the channel Dead Meat. The plan is to bring the franchise full circle using legacy characters, something that has been done to some success in the Halloween franchise, although the latest Halloween movie was very, very divisive. I had a good time watching it, but it wasn't what it could have been. They want a poetic story featuring the daughter of Billy, Samantha, to have gone crazy and killed Sydney and Gail. Of course, the franchise is obsessed with its rules, and even Sydney is at risk this time. Now, Tara fails this quiz and is taken to hospital, alerting Sam, who is Billy Loomis's illegitimate daughter, to return to Woodsboro with her boyfriend Richie, who planned the whole thing online with Amber. Funnily enough, Tara's friend group all have connections to the original cast of Scream, or the franchise at large, with the twins having Randy for an uncle, including the return of the same actress who played Randy's sister, which was a neat little touch. It's all been a scheme to off the relatives of the original victims. At the hospital, Richie watches Stab 8 while Sam is attacked after seeing hallucinations of her father, terrified she will become like him. I didn't like these hallucinations. I thought they were really, really cheesy, and the whole kind of CGI looked really, really bad, to be honest. It wasn't the best it could have been, and I'd rather them just not do it because this did not fit in the Scream kind of template. It's clear there are two ghost faces here, as the creep is also attacked at the same time, just like the original. The same creep whose uncle is Stu, the original half of Ghostface. Now, Sam reveals her parentage and why she left when she was younger, which was the reason she had a rift with her half-sister, and they go to get help from Dewey, leading Randy's niece to explain this is essentially a re-sequel and no one is safe, which is pretty true, to be honest. Now, Wes, I believe he was in 13 Reasons Why, the same actor. He seemed like he was safe, as his mother was Judy in Scream 4. However, Wes had a crush on Tara, and Amber is incredibly protective of Tara, so I expect it was a double killing meaning here, so that they can fit the narrative of kills from the franchise and also get him away from her, and it's not long before Gail returns. Now, she's furious with Dewey for telling her what has happened over text. Dewey was always seemingly destined to stay in Woodsboro as Ghostface returns to the hospital to lure the legacy characters there, which is what happens as Dewey is killed by Ghostface after going for the head, as they always come back. I mean, why didn't he just shoot the gun from afar in the lift? Just hold the door open, bang, you're gone. Interestingly, in hospital, Tara was also watching Dawson's Creek, which, of course, staple of the 90s. I absolutely loved it. But they were watching the Scare episode, which was a sort of parody of the scary movies of the time. And very interestingly, in universe, Roman from Scream 3 was in that episode and Dawson's Creek, and they reference it and make it canon that he appeared in the show prior to Scream 3, which is a nice little Easter egg. After this, Sam decides to take her half-sister out of Woodsboro and back to her home, despite Sydney arriving and saying this will always follow her. However, Richie has hidden Tara's inhaler, meaning they have to stop at Amber's house, which is Stu's house from the first movie. Now, it's very, very poetic here as they have their party in honour of Wes, just like they had a party in the first movie. They're even watching the OG stab as it calms Randy's niece down, who makes a jump scare with Amber, who goes to get beer, very similar to the first movie, almost shot for shot. The scene is pretty close to the video store scene where Randy is talking to the real killers. However, his niece is doing a similar thing. Randy's nephew is then almost killed by Ghostface, but those two then survive. And I did like how the niece was like, move, like behind you while it was happening to her. It's ridiculously cool. But, well, Sydney enters the house and we see a hat just like Wes Craven used to wear, and we had it in his Scream cameo as a janitor, which was a neat touch. After everyone being a suspect, we get a huge reveal in almost the same way as Billy and Stu, as Richie is revealed to be the mastermind, and Amber is Stu, the overactive sidekick, and even having Tara go missing just like Sydney in the original, as these killers are taken out. I thought it was really, really neat there. They wanted to control the franchise of Stab by bringing it back to its roots and basing it on true events, thus having the Stab franchise having a new murder spree that it can be based on in the next Stab. The only way things can seemingly come back today is with a re-sequel, just like Force Awakens, Jurassic World and so on, which is an interesting one nonetheless, and this movie has essentially done the same thing, which was pretty clever. It seems everyone is free to live happily ever after, with Sydney returning to Mark, Patrick Dempsey's character from Scream 4. I really enjoyed the movie, and Amber saying she was radicalised by the movies and fandom with the violence and its impact on fans. That's been a long-running theme of the show, or the movie, sorry, especially with the Stab franchise. Speaking of which, I found it weird that, well, Richie said that Sydney didn't return for all of them, but in Scream 4, was said that she refused to return after Scream 3, which is interesting. I like the idea of Billy's legacy character returning, but twisted as having yet another connection to Billy be the killer would be weak. But I found the CGI kind of corny, and the idea of the secret love child was really, really tough to get with. But you have to remember that Billy planned the whole thing originally to get close to Sydney in revenge, so he could have strayed then, and maybe it was one of the girls he was talking to at the video store there. Was it the best reveal? Not really, as Scream 4 was actually a lot more shocking in my opinion. The twists were pretty clear as day. It's just so obvious that Jack Quaid would be the killer. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it. I would have liked more Sydney, to be honest, but this is a re-sequel, so legacy characters are just there to kind of play bit parts. So there is that. But overall, I enjoyed it. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.